Okay, friends, welcome back to the podcast, The History of. I'm your fabulous host, Ria St. John. And yes, you're probably wondering who in the world is Ria St. John, when I know for a fact this podcast started off with an Alex Perez. Well, let me just tell you guys, welcome back to my podcast. I have taken quite a long time away from it, and I decided that I wanted to come back to it. So, yes, my name is Alex Perez. For those of you that have been following me for the last 51 episodes. And for those of you that know, I'm also an actor outside of the podcast, and I go by the stage name Ria St. John. Fun little fact about Ria St. John. I came up with the stage name because I felt like Alexandria Perez was a bit boring in a sense of like, there's a lot of us out there. So I know we're all fabulous. If you're in Alexandria listening to this podcast, you're fabulous. But when I went to go Google myself, there were multiple Alexandria Perez's. So in order to stand out amongst the crowd, I decided that a stage name was going to be appropriate. When it came down to really thinking about the stage name, I wanted it to have some kind of backstory and have some kind of emotional charge to it in a way for me. I mean, not that anybody else cares, but I'm going to tell you the story anyway. So Ria is R-I-A, and that is the last three letters of my first name, my legal first name. Saint comes from my mother's maiden name. So her maiden name is Saint Arnaud, and it's French. And I'm pretty sure I butchered the crap out of saying that. But anyways, hers is S-T period. I spell mine out. So it's S-A-I-N-T for Saint. And then John is my late father's first name. So I felt like that was a really great name because not only is it sort of true with my first name, Ria, but now I'm paying tribute to my creators. So I've got my mom and my dad in there, and I thought it was just really fun to have something so catchy and so cool, and then to be able to pay tribute to them was amazing. Anyways, that's a long story short. That's why I'm now Ria St. John. You'll find me on all the social platforms as Ria St. John. I've even changed the banner to my podcast to reflect the host saying Ria St. John. So I'm Ria St. John, and welcome for those of you that don't know. And I'm sorry if you don't care about it, but I just wanted to tell you anyways. I'm going to try a little something different today. Usually I'm pretty prepared with the episode. I have it all written out. I've done all the research. I've had my script available while I'm doing the podcast, and I honestly felt like some of it was a little slow and a little boring from time to time. I mean, history is wonderful, and I'm so glad that we have it. It just can be boring. So the topics I choose are really fun and really interesting, I hope, and will bring you some kind of insight to the backstory of why we have things or why we do things or what the heck is the deal with Santa Claus or Halloween or whatever it is. I wanted to make it more fun. So I don't talk about the typical history things like the wars and 9/11 and the history of that. I don't do any of that. I'm going to talk to you guys about the history of fun things. So go back into my show and look at all the past things I've done. I've done the history of Bigfoot, the history of video games, the history of pirates, the history of Santa Claus, the history of Thanksgiving. So just go back and look through some of those. And as always, I appreciate any feedback you want to give me, because I am still learning and I'm still developing and I'm evolving. Everybody's evolving all the time. Okay, so today's topic is going to be about the history of the Tooth Fairy. Ha! Yay, the Tooth Fairy! I thought about this for a really long time and I was like, I don't really know the origin story of the Tooth Fairy. I just know as a kid, when I lost a tooth, Mom and Dad were like, put it under your pillow. The Tooth Fairy's gonna come and leave you a prize. And they were right. But spoiler alert, if you have any kids listening to this episode, cover their ears right now. Right now. Spoiler alert. The parents are the Tooth Fairies. So there's that. Let's just dive right into it. Welcome back to the channel, The History of. I'm your host, Ria St. John, like I said before, and here we go. And this is going to be more of like a conversation. So I hope you enjoy this setup a little bit more, and a little bit more of my personality is going to come out in it, which I think is fabulous. Before we continue with our episode, I have to interrupt you for a commercial. So yeah, when we were kids, Mom and Dad, parents were like, you know what? You lost a tooth. Good job, kid. We're going to put it under your pillow. We're going to see what happens. And that was pretty much my upbringing. When I lost teeth, I was like, yes, I'm about to be rich. But aside from that, how did that come to be, right? How did that come to be? We all had piggy banks growing up. We all wanted money as kids. You know, we just couldn't wait to have some money so we could spend it on those candies and treats and all the things. So most kids know the Tooth Fairy as a little lady with wings and a wand, spreading pixie dust and leaving money every time a tooth is lost. Think of it as a generous Tinkerbell. Okay, we all saw the story of Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, so just think of it like that. But here are some very fairy facts about the Tooth Fairy. So the Tooth Fairy name was first published in 1908. In Europe, baby teeth were carried for good luck, they were saved for the afterlife, and they were buried for protection from witches. The value of baby teeth has changed based on society and the economy. And you can turn the teeth into a keepsake, or you can use them for a science project. Well, thank you very much. Now, I got a lot of my information from various websites, and I try to do a lot of research on those websites before I credit them. So before I continue, I would like to credit the solsticebenefits.com. They are a really awesome company, and they do a lot of dental health, specializing with kids. But as children grow up and we learn the truth that our parents were in fact the ones that made this fantasy a reality, it leaves us really to wonder, where does the idea come from? So where did the Tooth Fairy come from? Well, like I said earlier, she was mentioned by name in 1908. She was published in an article in the Chicago Tribune. In exchange for each loose baby tooth, children would get 5 cents under their pillow at that time, which was great because for 5 cents at that time, you could get a movie ticket or a shoe shine. Fantastic. You can't buy a squat today for 5 cents. So hopefully that monetary reward has gone up for some of these kids. Oh man, can you imagine nowadays getting 5 cents under your pillow for a lost tooth? You're gonna be like, what the heck? What the heck, Tooth Fairy? That's rude. So here's the origin of the Tooth Fairy. There are various legends, there's various tales and traditions. It dates back to early Europe when people would bury their children's teeth in the ground as they fell out. The reasoning behind this varies according to different studies, of course, but some people believe that ridding themselves of their child's baby teeth would save them from suffering in the afterlife. Others, such as the Scandinavians, believed children's teeth were tokens of luck in war and battle and would wear them around their necks. How crazy. During medieval times, the fear of witches casting those fabulous spells on children caused parents to bury their teeth as they fell out. The tradition varies across regions. But the question still remains, guys. How did the tooth fairy become associated with monetary compensation? Why does the tooth fairy leave money? Most associated with the tooth fairy, like leaving money behind, can be traced back to Northern Europe. There was a long-standing tradition of tandfay, loosely translated as tooth fee, which was paid out when a child lost their first tooth. After losing 6 teeth, it became customary for children to receive a reward, typically money, and over time, parents began to give small rewards for each tooth instead of the 6th one, sometimes as a surprise. The reward amount was determined by several factors, such as the financial situation of the child's family, what the child's peers were receiving, okay, I get that, and what was an acceptable amount at the time. Well, it's been said that the tooth fairy has been affected by inflation, going from $1.30 in 1998 to $6.23 in 2023. There is no word on the monetary value of wooden teeth. My question is, what child has wooden teeth? Is that even a thing nowadays? I don't even know. I should look that up. The history of wooden teeth. So where does the tooth fairy live? I mean, I don't know about you. I don't really remember the stories. I mean, I have no remembrance of any story if my parents ever came up with one. So Mom, I know you listen to this podcast. I don't know if you ever made up a story about the tooth fairy and where she lives. Maybe you did, but I definitely don't remember it. But here goes, guys. Here's the general overview of where the tooth fairy lives. So the tooth fairy lives in a fairyland. Obviously. It's a magical and secretive place, not found on the maps, but rumored to be near Brush, Colorado. Okay. The Tooth Fairy's house is believed to be a huge white castle with towers and a sparkling moat made of teeth collected from children. Creepy. But yet somehow it sounds really magical and weird. Yeah, I don't know. If I was a child and my parents told me that the Tooth Fairy had a castle made of teeth or a moat made of teeth from children, I don't know. I don't know how I would feel about that. So here's what you can do with your child's baby teeth, okay? If you're not interested in building a castle made of teeth, please don't. You might want to preserve the memory of this milestone. You can also do it as a keepsake box, which I've seen many parents do. You can make jewelry out of it, which is okay, sure, yeah, we could try that. Or even use them for a school science project. Now, that might actually be very interesting. Hopefully, it doesn't turn into a scenario like was seen in The Simpsons. Oh, I didn't see that episode.
This tooth will be perfect for my science project. Science has already proven the dangers of smoking, alcohol, and Chinese food, but I can still ruin soft drinks for everyone. Hey, Lise, check out my science project. How? What's that supposed to prove? That nerds conduct electricity. Ow! Ow! Stupid Bart.
But you know what? Now I might go back and watch that episode because I that sounds fun. Okay. So here's some considerations when you want to talk to your child about the Tooth Fairy, because I don't know about you, my kids went through it as well and they figured out Santa wasn't real. Oh my God, sorry. Spoiler alert. Sorry. Santa's not real. And neither is the Easter Bunny, and neither is the Tooth Fairy, and neither is, I don't know, Krampus and werewolves and vampires. So sorry to burst your bubbles, but that is the truth. But here's what you can say if you want to start talking to your child about the Tooth Fairy. It is based on age and development, so you can do your best to keep up the magic for as long as your child is having fun. There's the key word right there, parents, having fun. If your child is no longer having fun, just stop. Just stop. When the time comes that they've outgrown it, find a gentle way to tell them about the tooth fairy. You'll want to ensure your child doesn't tell their unsuspecting siblings or friends the news, right? Because we don't want to spoil their parents' fun. Also, remember that the tooth fairy provides an excellent incentive for encouraging young kids to pay attention to their oral health. Here are some fun facts of Did You Know about the tooth fairy? Okay, I just had to, guys, sorry. So let's dive right into these fun facts, okay? So in Spain and Latin America, instead of a fairy, children look forward to a visit from El Raton Perez, a little mouse who collects teeth and leaves a gift. Aww. The story of this tooth-collecting mouse originated in Spain and quickly spread to other Spanish-speaking countries. Ah, I love that. Oh my, I don't know how to pronounce this France one, but in France, the tooth fairy is known as the little mouse. Much like El Raton Perez, this mouse exchanges lost teeth for coins or small gifts, making the event magical for French children. Japanese children toss their lost teeth onto the roof or under the floor, depending on whether it's an upper or lower tooth. And the direction symbolizes the hope that the new tooth will grow straight and strong. In India, children are encouraged to offer their lost teeth to the sun, often by throwing them onto the roof while reciting a special rhyme. This practice is believed to bring good luck and ensure that the child's new teeth will be healthy. Those are actually really fun. So, fun tips for parents. So you can create a tooth fairy door. Consider placing a tiny decorative door in your child's room where the tooth fairy enters to collect the tooth. This adds an extra layer of magic to the experience. You can also leave fairy dust. You can have little personalized notes. You could even print out a small receipt from the tooth fairy detailing the transaction of the tooth for the reward. That's a fun keepsake. And you can also give them miniature gifts. In addition to money, consider leaving a small gift that's tooth fairy themed, such as a tiny toy, a new toothbrush, or a special book about dental care. Wow, this is becoming expensive already. Wow, okay. I had a very special pillow in which I would dedicate putting my lost teeth into. And I think I still have that pillow. I'm pretty sure I still have that special pillow. But yeah, they used to have special pillows that you could buy. I don't even know where I got mine from. Maybe my mom would know. But yeah, I mean, I had a special little pillow that would fit my cute little tooth in, and then I would put it under my big pillow that I'd sleep on, and then I would wake up in the morning and find a couple dollars under there in the place of where I put my tooth, which was really fun. And I did the same thing with my kids, although I don't think I had a special pillow for them, which is kind of sad now that I think about it, but I don't really think they cared in the end. I think they just wanted the monetary prize, so... That's all mom and dad are good for anyways, just all the money. All right, well, that is pretty much the history of the Tooth Fairy today. It's a short one. It's not very much. There's not a whole lot going on with the Tooth Fairy other than that, you know, she's from a long time ago. But hopefully this was intriguing and you enjoyed it. And I'm going to upload the video with my audio so you can watch me as I talk about it or not. It's totally up to you. If you don't want to watch my beautiful face, that's fine. I just wanted to get a feel for how everybody liked this episode. It's a little bit more personable, and I wanted to just have that open conversation. So in the comments, I would really like to hear your stories of the Tooth Fairy, and if you have any fun ones that you had as a kid, or any ones that you did with your kids. And if you have any suggestions for any episodes, please let me know. I am always looking for new ideas. That's it, guys. I don't think I have anything else. But anyways, here's a little thing that I always like to say at the end of my podcasts. And let me just make sure I remember how it goes, because it's been a while. But okay, here it is. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And until our next journey through time, I challenge you with this. Experience a new perspective and learned something new. Bye.